Old Age Benefit Payments, Section 202. A. Every qualified individual, as defined in Section 210, shall be entitled to receive, with respect to the period beginning on the date he attains the age of 65, or on January 1, 1942, whichever is the later, and ending on the date of his death, an old age benefit, payable as nearly as practicable in equal monthly installments, as follows. 1. If the total wages, as defined in Section 210, determined by the Board, to have been paid to him, with respect to employment, as defined in Section 210, after December 31, 1936, and before he attained the age of 65, were not more than $3,000, the old age benefit shall be at a monthly rate of 0.5% of such total wages. 2. If such total wages were more than $3,000, the old age benefit shall be at a monthly rate equal to the sum of the following: A. 0.5% of $3,000, plus B. 1/12% of the amount by which such total wages exceeded $3,000 and did not exceed $45,000, plus C. 1/24% of the amount by which such total wages exceeded $45,000. B. In no case shall the monthly rate computed under subsection A exceed $85. C. If the Board finds at any time that more or less than the correct amount has theretofore been paid to any individual under this section, then, under regulations made by the Board, proper adjustments shall be made in connection with subsequent payments under this section to the same individual. D. Whenever the Board finds that any qualified individual has received wages with respect to regular employment after he attained the age of 65, the old age benefit payable to such individual shall be reduced, for each calendar month, in any part of which such regular employment occurred, by an amount equal to 1 month's benefit. Such reduction shall be made, under regulations prescribed by the Board, by deductions from one or more payments of old age benefit to such individual, payments upon death. Section 203. A. If any individual dies before attaining the age of 65, there shall be paid to his estate an amount equal to 3% of the total wages determined by the Board to have been paid to him with respect to employment after December 31, 1936. B. If the Board finds that the correct amount of the old age benefit payable to a qualified individual during his life under Section 202 was less than 3% of the total wages by which such old age benefit was measurable, then there shall be paid to his estate a sum equal to the amount, if any, by which such 3% exceeds the amount, whether more or less than the correct amount, paid to him during his life as old age benefit. C. If the Board finds that the total amount paid to a qualified individual under an old age benefit during his life was less than the correct amount to which he was entitled under Section 202, and that the correct amount of such old age benefit was 3% or more of the total wages by which such old age benefit was measurable, then there shall be paid to his estate a sum equal to the amount, if any, by which the correct amount of the old age benefit exceeds the amount which was so paid to him during his life. Payments to aged individuals not qualified for benefits. Section 204. A. There shall be paid in a lump sum to any individual who, upon attaining the age of 65, is not a qualified individual, an amount equal to 3% of the total wages determined by the Board to have been paid to him with respect to employment after December 31, 1936, and before he attained the age of 65. B. After any individual becomes entitled to any payment under subsection A, no other payment shall be made under this title in any manner measured by wages paid to him, except that any part of any payment under subsection A, which is not paid to him before his death, shall be paid to his estate. Amounts of $500 or less payable to estates. Section 205. If any amount payable to an estate under Section 203 or 204 is $500 or less, such amount may, under regulations prescribed by the Board, be paid to the persons found by the board to be entitled thereto under the law of the state in which the deceased was domiciled, without the necessity of compliance with the requirements of law with respect to the administration of such estate. Overpayments during life. Section 206. If the board finds that the total amount paid to a qualified individual under an old age benefit during his life was more than the correct amount to which he was entitled under Section 202, and was 3% or more of the total wages by which such old age benefit was measurable, then upon his death there shall be repaid to the United States by his estate the amount, if any, by which such total amount paid to him during his life exceeds whichever of the following is the greater: 1. Such 3%, or 2. The correct amount to which he was entitled under Section 202. Method of making payments. Section 207. The board shall from time to time certify to the Secretary of the Treasury the name and address of each person entitled to receive a payment under this title, the amount of such payment, and the time at which it should be made, and the Secretary of the Treasury, through the Division of Disbursement of the Treasury Department, and prior to audit or settlement by the General Accounting Office, shall make payment in accordance with the certification by the Board. Assignment. Section 208. The right of any person to any future payment under this title shall not be transferable or assignable at law or in equity, and none of the monies paid or payable or rights existing under this title shall be subject to execution, levy, attachment, garnishment, or other legal process, or to the operation of any bankruptcy or insolvency law. Penalties. Section 209. Whoever in any application for any payment under this title makes any false statement as to any material fact, knowing such statement to be false, shall be fined not more than $1,000, or imprisoned for not more than 1 year, or both. Definitions. Section 210. When used in this title, a. The term wages means all remuneration for employment, including the cash value of all remuneration paid in any medium other than cash, except that such term shall not include that part of the remuneration which, after remuneration equal to $3,000 has been paid to an individual by an employer with respect to employment during any calendar year, is paid to such employer with respect to employment during such calendar year. B. The term employment means any service, of whatever nature, performed within the United States by an employee for his employer, except 1. Agricultural labor, 2. Domestic service in a private home, 3. Casual labor not in the course of the employer's trade or business, 4. Service performed as an officer or member of the crew of a vessel documented under the laws of the United States or of any foreign country, 5. Service performed in the employ of the United States government, or of an instrumentality of the United States. 6. Service performed in the employ of a state, a political subdivision thereof, or an instrumentality of one or more states or political subdivisions. 7. Service performed in the employ of a corporation, community chest, fund, or foundation, organized and operated exclusively for religious, charitable, scientific, literary, or educational purposes, or for the prevention of cruelty to children or animals. No part of the net earnings of which inures to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual. C. The term qualified individual means any individual with respect to whom it appears to the satisfaction of the board that 1. He is at least 65 years of age, and 2. The total amount of wages paid to him with respect to employment after December 31, 1936, and before he attained the age of 65, was not less than $2,000, and 3. Wages were paid to him with respect to employment on some 5 days after December 31, 1936, and before he attained the age of 65, each day being in a different calendar year. Title III. Grants to States for Unemployment Compensation Administration Appropriation. Section 301. For the purpose of assisting the states in the administration of their unemployment compensation laws, there is hereby authorized to be appropriated, for the fiscal year ending June 30, 1936, the sum of $4 million, and for each fiscal year thereafter the sum of $49 million, to be used as hereinafter provided. Payments to states. Section 302. A. The Board shall from time to time certify to the Secretary of the Treasury for payment to each state which has an unemployment compensation law approved by the Board under Title IX, such amounts as the Board determines to be necessary for the proper administration of such law during the fiscal year in which such payment is to be made. The Board's determination shall be based on 1. The population of the state, 2. An estimate of the number of persons covered by the state law, and of the cost of proper administration of such law, and 3. Such other factors as the Board finds relevant. The Board shall not certify for payment, under this section in any fiscal year, a total amount in excess of the amount appropriated therefor for such fiscal year. B. Out of the sums appropriated therefor, the Secretary of the Treasury shall, upon receiving a certification under subsection A, pay, through the Division of Disbursement of the Treasury Department, and prior to audit or settlement by the General Accounting Office, to the state agency charged with the administration of such law the amount so certified.